Hey, this is Mo Lunsford at Union Grove Lumber Studios.
And this is the Shed Geek. We want to welcome you to today's episode.
So welcome back to another episode of the Shed Geek podcast, Sambassador Friday Fun Day style. This is still kind of new to me. I've done a couple, but I'm still working on this. And I couldn't have better guests to get started out with than what I've had. And today we are in Pennsylvania at Woody's place, celebrating 40 years. Do you feel that old?
No, not at all.
Like, do you ever wonder, like, so we were talking about my daughter Megan's birthday's today, and she's 28. Shane's getting ready to turn 32. I don't feel old enough to have kids that old. and then you said that your son's turning 42. And I'm like, that's starting to show your age a little bit.
Yeah.
So how do you you're still driving, like you're still trucking?
Yes, I am.
You built a beautiful truck, had it down at the Bash. I was so happy to see you. I don't really think that you crawled out of a shell, but so I've known you 5 years now? 4 or 5?
5 years or what?
5 personally knowing you. Like we've known each other on Facebook for longer than that, but
let me think. In Tennessee Bash was the first we actually met Facebook.
Yeah, that was 2019.
And so
it's 5 years. It feels like forever, does it not? I mean, it feels like a long time ago.
Yeah. And you know what? The Bash is really amazing on what's doing that. It took a little time to actually filter through, but there's more and more people, I got to go back to the Bash because they want to make that connection with other people that they met and so forth. That's going on.
The other part of that is they seem to do pretty good at telling other people you have to be there. Yeah. Like it keeps growing. Jason and I keep thinking it's going to cap out. Obviously, the Utah one was smaller because we were out in the middle of nowhere, but that was fun. Like we had less people, but we had a good time.
We did. We had an absolute blast.
You drug that big toolbox all the way out there and put it all together, and we raised money with that. I see you have a nice one. You have one down there in your shop.
I do, yeah. It's pretty much exactly the same thing as what we had out in the Utah Bash.
Couldn't get it in purple?
No.
So what happened yesterday?
I was 10 minutes too late. I went to Harbor Freight to get this purple. It was on sale, and it was a deal 5. They had 10 days of deals, and this was deal 5. And the Lancaster Harbor Freight didn't have any. So I called around. Yeah, the Reading had one that's 30 miles away. I'm like, hey, I'll be there at 8 o'clock. I was 10 minutes late. And I walk in, I laid my phone down. I said, I want this. And they said, well, we don't have any. I said, yeah, you do. You told me yesterday you had one. They said, well, it's sold.
That's unbelievable.
Oh, my word. So
10
this
minutes.
is obviously going to be a hot item. Yeah. Or already is.
Well, I have a purple chair. I think that should count for something. I actually brought it. You seen it. And you're like, what? What is this? And I'm like, well, I do have a purple chair. So I have to be careful with purple where I live because there's a football team down there that everybody seems to like. I'm not even going to give them the honor of putting their name on there. It's just there's a college football team down there, and their colors are orange and purple. So there's a lot of purple chairs around there.
Well, we have the Ravens here at Baltimore.
Oh, well, that's true. They're black and purple, aren't they?
Tan.
Yeah. Oh, they have tan too? Maybe they do.
Oh, maybe it's black and purple. I'm not sure, but they have purple in somewhere.
Yeah. They used to have some football players I really liked back in the day. They were beasts. But why purple? Where did purple come from?
I don't know. Back when I bought my first truck as Woody's Transport in 2000, it was already – the truck was already set up. It was a truck that was ordered from the company I was driving for, King Transport. And to make a long story short, they sold the company before they ever took possession of the truck. So the truck was sitting in Lancaster at the Peterbilt dealer, and I had no idea I was going to buy that truck at the time.
Yeah.
You know? So
you went and looked at it though?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
It was for me.
Yeah.
The truck was for me.
I thought so.
Either way, that was a burgundy. That was all King's colors, burgundy with gray interiors. That's what he wanted.
Mm-hmm.
And this one had gray and red on the inside, which was really nice with the American class interior and so forth. But I always had my mind focused towards, I want to steer towards the purple somehow. I didn't know how to do that. And I kept watching and looking online. Well, the online wasn't so popular then, but I found a calendar that struck my eye with a picture of a Pete from Texas, I believe it was. I think it was in Texas. And I said, I like that. And it was the way it was the tan and the purple was put together. It broke the color up a little bit as far as not too much purple. And I was going to be careful not to look feminish. And while Esther, my wife, she's very good with colors. Like if you look around the basement here, all
it's
those
absolutely
colors, the way
beautiful.
she blends them together and everything looks right. And so she helped me with that in choosing the right tan, as light as possible, and the purple has to be plum, which we did that.
Okay.
And that's been pretty much the color that we kept.
That's what you
since,
stuck with.
let me think a little bit. 2002 was the first tan and purple Pete.
Okay.
That was what we called our second chance.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. That's so it's kind of like blue for me. Like I'm a white and blue guy. If I have to, I'll do gray and blue. But now I have a reason. I grew up in Kentucky, and I'm a diehard Kentucky basketball fan, UK fan, and their colors are white and blue, and occasionally they put a silver in with it. So, and I've been gone there from 35 years, and I still have that problem. I get away from it for a couple of years, and then they play good again, then I'm back in. So yours isn't really tied to anything. You just like
Not
the
really.
color.
Not really. It's just basically what Esther and I, we came together and pulled together, and the driver appreciation was really big on that.
Okay.
I bought a used truck in 04. That one was green, and I had a brand new trailer built for that. And
Green trailer?
I asked him, I said, do you want the trailer to match the truck? He goes, no. He goes, you make the trailer purple.
Oh.
So it was a purple trailer with a green, like a hunter green. It was a darker green. And it didn't match. It was a little bit of a clash, but he didn't care. I want that purple
He
trailer.
wanted a purple trailer.
So
That's cool.
we did end up painting that truck maybe 3 years down the road and made it tan and purple. And people thought, oh, you got two new trucks.
Yeah.
And 5, I got the one I'm currently driving. That was tan and purple from the factory. And then it was right over that time.
Mm-hmm.
And it looked like two new trucks. But
Yeah,
it was just repainted.
So would the green have been like similar to some of what the LG trucks look like? That
was
darker green?
darker.
Oh, it was darker than
It was
that?
darker, yeah.
Oh, wow.
It was a hunter green. It was a pretty
Yeah,
dark
Okay.
green.
All right. That's cool. So yeah, you came to the bash, you made up all these shirts, you wanted to do a thing. You actually sponsored the bash.
I did.
I was like, wow, I'm getting back to where I was when I said, Woody, you seem to have crawled out of a shell a little bit. Not that you wouldn't talk, you just didn't freely give away information. And we've had conversations about that. Us old guys, we don't come across the way some of the young guys do. And so it's hard to know when to say something and when not to say something because you don't know how people are going to take anything. Well, I just quit giving. I don't care anymore. I just give it anyway. But all of a sudden it seemed like, well, this 40th anniversary probably, I guess, is what pushed you over the edge? Or what all of a sudden
I
happened?
began to realize that a lot of things happen in my life that it seemed like the younger generation should or would like to hear it. And I guess it was probably they like to hear it. They really do.
See, that's
It amazed me.
Why do we get stuck thinking that people don't want to hear our stories?
Well, I look at it as the same old thing, but it's not.
No,
It's not.
that's-
It's like
for us. It's the same old thing.
big ears to them.
Yeah.
They really soaked it in.
yeah.
They did.
Yeah, so you came to the bash, you had your table set up and all your T-shirts and stuff, and then you got to tell your story, and the place got quiet. Like when I get up there and yabber away, you can hear people talking everywhere. You got up there and started talking, and it went quiet. Everybody was paying attention. You have a very intriguing and riveting story, and the thing that is amazing. I was talking to my wife this morning. I said, and the thing that's amazing to me, the more you tell it, the more it grows because people become involved in your story and you're like, hey, that's so-and-so. And like last night we were talking with the cook and all of a sudden there's more connections. Did you ever think it would grow like that?
No, I didn't see that.
Yeah.
But even after the bash, guys would text me or message me on, hey, can we talk? I want to talk to you on the phone.
Yeah.
And we did that. And it's been really amazing
That's
and a
cool.
blessing to me to hear other people bring maybe like one sentence that I said, and it struck to them. It's like, that's me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or that was them at that person.
Yep,
or in
that person
in,
at that time, yeah.
In a different time of life. But it was just amazing to me how many people called me, texted me, messaged me on Facebook and said, hey, I love that story.
That's cool.
So
So can we walk through this a little bit?
Sure.
You did a fantastic job there at the bash, but we didn't give you enough time. It was a little bit short, and I get that because everything gets jam packed together so bad. I really want to add the third day, but there's no way to do it because people just can't. It's bad enough to have to take off 2 days. Yeah. I don't want to do it on a weekend because I want people to have their weekends, you know. And I consider it. I consider the bash part of our work. It's part of our job. It's so work is my ministry. So it's doing ministry for me, but I like to do it during the week so that nobody, you know, gets messed up for the weekend or whatever.
Well, it doesn't really seem. People figure it in, put it in their schedules, and
yeah, and they do.
They did.
And then, you know, like I said, it seems like we're constantly building a couple more people, more and more people become involved. And man, I was burned out for 2 weeks afterwards because I always do. But I was excited because we're going to Texas. Like I'm ready to go again because Texas is just going to be great. So yeah, I want to give you an opportunity to do that. And I think, Shannon has a tremendous amount of listeners, that would never hear this story that need to hear it. So I'll interrupt you occasionally, but I want you to just do what you did at the bash and just walk through the story and, tell you what you want to say. And then today you're having this big party here and you're expecting 200 people.
I am.
It's crazy, and they're coming from Canada and Florida, and
From
who knows?
Florida to Canada and every state in between.
Except
Are
we going to give a shout out to Martin for not making it? Martin Hostetler, where you at, buddy?
He was thinking they wanted to come,
Yeah.
and they have family here. He has a daughter here in the area.
Yes, he does.
So, however, whatever else was going on
Yeah.
in their lives, that didn't work.
Yeah. Well, he's got a new truck now, you know, so I'm sure he's probably got to work harder. So yeah, just take it away. I'll if I have a question, I'll interrupt you for a second. But
It was in 1984. I wanted change. I was working for a measly $9 per hour, and I remember there was a day that I said, "Look, I'm not going to work like this. I'm going to have to do something. Something's going to change." I didn't know how to do that. I was only 23 years, probably 22 at that time.
we're going to figure out how old you are.
Yeah, and so I spent some time in Ohio after we were married. That's where Esther, my wife, was from, and we were not firmly planted in Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
We just kind of like, well, you know, we'll stay here, and we didn't really talk about it very much. And at some point, we decided that we was going to pursue the plans and talk to my parents and what are the options are for us to move in. I had no job, nothing lined up, and I had a friend named JB, and he's going to be here at the party today. And
Really?
he was in a hauling business locally. He did rollback hauling, general freight for the Amish, mostly for the Amish.
Mm-hmm.
And he kept telling me there's a lot of work out there. And he had a small account, could I say, a customer that made sheds, a shed builder, and moved some sheds for them. That was in 84 when we moved in from Ohio in probably March or April. I can't remember the exact date. And I kind of did odds and ends. And I was pursuing to get a pickup and get some sort of a trailer, possibly a gooseneck trailer. And I didn't have any particular thing in mind, but I was going to be hauling.
Mm-hmm.
And I did some loads. In fact, Sam, the first load I hauled out of Gordonville, where Pine Hill used to be in that building, was a farm equipment. I hauled a load of hay tedders to Stanton, Virginia.
Stanton, Virginia, which just happens to be where I'm from originally.
Yes. That was in '84, so you were
Okay.
probably gone already, weren't you?
Yeah, we left in 76 or 7.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yeah, we
so
were
you
gone. Yeah,
So
but
we were
that's
not close
crazy.
together. So, and then it kind of got started, and they gave me more loads and some wagon loads, like the hay baler, the thrower wagons with the big high sides.
Yeah.
And those were heavy. I didn't really care for them. The hay tethers were clumsy, bulky.
Yep.
They were hard to tie down. Yet they, you know how they are. They all wanted everything for the best money. And
Oh,
they
yeah.
piled them on. And however, it worked. It was nothing that great, but one day JB calls me and says, "Hey, I got a shed that needs to go to Jersey for Johnny Boom. Could you haul it for me?" I said, "Sure." And it was a pre-built, like it was a prefab or however you want to call it. So it was just partially built.
Oh,
so there
okay.
was it was not an assembled shed. It
They
was
just stacked it all
partially-
together, or-
Yes,
yeah.
it was the floor
And
and,
then
then
the
the
walls
sides
and-
and
yeah.
the walls and stuff.
Oh, that's
And,
interesting. They
so I
were
took
doing
that
that
down.
back then.
Oh yeah. So we went to Englishtown, New Jersey, and
Were you oversized?
no,
Okay.
no, everything was.
Everything was in size.
I don't think I was oversized. No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't know what even size. You know what? I don't know. Maybe I was oversized.
That's interesting.
I don't think so, but it's possible. That's a part. I would say it was not oversized.
Okay.
They had the floor broken down.
Oh,
However,
yeah.
the old man Johnny Boom, and he had one guy named Sam. What was his last name? He was a young Amish guy. Went along, and I was like, "Man, this is going to take forever." Several hours later, the shed was done,
Oh, my.
and so we came home, and Johnny Boom and my parents were friends. Actually, I went to school with some of Johnny Boom's boys. Ephraim was a grade behind me, or in my grade in the Amish school right here in my area. So the third grade was the last that I would have attended the Amish school.
Okay.
However, we never forgot each other. We always knew each other. I can't
Wow.
remember my parents visiting after my parents left the Amish church in '70. But before that, we'd go visit Johnny Boom's on a Sunday night.
Yeah.
And I know one particular time, Whitey, which that's a nickname, Mel Lance was there
Uh-huh.
from Lance Structures.
From Land Structures. Way
So,
back then.
Way back then.
Yeah.
Way back. This is,
So hold on a sec. So the first shed you delivered, the builder actually went along with you,
Yeah.
put the shed together, and then y'all all came home together.
yeah, that's correct. A 2-hour drive. But it was about a 2-hour drive down
That's-
to Englishtown, New Jersey.
That's pretty cool.
And they were so excited. Ephraim was like, we were looking for a guy like you. And right away, we started talking about more.
yeah.
I said,
Sure.
absolutely. I was all over it. $2 a mile.
No.
And, that was the numbers that they were using. And this was big bucks to me back then.
Yeah. Okay, we're back again.
That feels better. Thank you. Where was I? Right away, Johnny Boom, Ephraim was the foreman of the shop, and they were all over it. They wanted me in there to haul. And we discussed 3 days a week. We discussed rates, $35 a mile. No, $35 for the first 20 miles to set up any
Oh,
shed
yeah. You had a
in the
minimum.
area.
Yeah.
There were several times I took 2 sheds out and got paid $35, and I'm like,
Oops.
this is not quite the way it should be. So I said, I'd like to have another $15 to set the second shed within the 20 miles.
Yeah.
And they agreed to that. How was that? Anyway, we did that for a little while, and as reality starts breaking down, I realized that I have costs,
Yeah.
and I had to do some mods to my trailer. My trailer was not designed for sheds at all.
Okay.
It was pretty pitiful. I'm going to use the word pitiful. But I made it work, and I went to the local welding shop up here, and they were very helpful. And we laid some channel irons down on the trailer, on the flatbed gooseneck trailer, to use for the runners for the sheds. And that was very helpful. And on the end of that, we had a roller so that when the shed did tilt, but there was no dump.
Oh, yeah, no.
I put a little winch back there and pulled them to the back and just pulled till the shed went over center and boom.
Down you go.
So that worked out. But before that, it was Johnny Boom's boys, Daniel and Ephraim, that introduced me to the PVC pipes and the handyman jacks.
Oh, yeah.
So
Tools of torture.
Yeah, they were. So we actually jacked the shed up on the trailer before the rails and rolled it back. And then we tried to figure out where that last roller was going to be so that when the shed goes over center, that the roller doesn't drop out before the shed's not
Oh, yeah.
ready to drop out
yeah,
because
yeah.
you get stuck.
Yeah, you would.
It was,
Yep. Took
was
some
not-
finagling.
yes, it was. It was finagling to the max, to the fullest. However, once that was done, things went quite a bit better, but it was still, the trailer was not designed. However, I made do and I worked with it. The trailer came from Missouri. It was a homemade trailer by a farmer that probably used it to haul hay. It was 27 feet long. The axles were actual pickup axles from a dually.
No.
The pumpkins and everything were,
Still in there.
well,
I mean,
one
they were
was
there.
still in,
Yeah, but nothing inside.
He cut the pumpkin out on the one axle and put a pipe in. Well, the springs from the pickup truck axle everything was still intact, and the leveling or the equalizer was bad design. So I went in the standard wheel and rim, which is here at Lancaster, which those are long gone now because I guess with all the competition with the Amish guys, put them out of business. So anyway, I bought a spring kit from them, hangers and a spring kit, and I had the welding shop I was talking about earlier.
Put them in.
They put it in, and then we cut the other pumpkin out, and put a pipe in, and that's the way that trailer still is.
Still is. That trailer's still around. That's like my little 82 model trailer that's still floating around somewhere. It's in Florida.
It's in Florida.
Yeah, he still uses it. It's crazy. Yeah, so what were you pulling this with?
Again, this pickup was not designed to haul sheds with. It was an F-350 single wheel,
Okay.
4-wheel, single wheel drive.
Yeah.
And it was not 4-wheel drive. And I wanted a 4-wheel drive with a 460. That's what I was looking for. But we didn't have the internet. We couldn't find stuff.
No.
We had to look through papers. I found this in Lancaster. It was a nice looking truck, but it was not the right truck for it. And plus, my trailer was a little on the heavy side. And going to people's yards, it was not ideal at all.
Yeah.
So there was times that I simply couldn't back in, so we'd get the old come along and chains out and spend a couple of hours winching them up till we got it there.
Done it.
And it was just the way it was.
And then one day I got mad at the come along and I put a winch on the front of the truck. So then I'd have to unload the shed, go out and turn around and pull in, and then I'd run my winch to a block and tackle, and we would drag sheds everywhere.
Yeah.
That way.
Yeah. So that we did a lot of that. There was times when you spent hours just to get a shed in place. But today, with the equipment we have, I mean,
And they still fuss about the equipment.
Yeah. Ain't that true?
It's all good.
So anyway, I didn't complain. It was the way it was, and we just figured, well, this is part of it.
It beat swinging a hammer, didn't it?
It did.
Yeah.
So anyway, in '86, I believe it was '86, I went to David Fisher Trailers, ordered a trailer from them, and I did not wait on that trailer long at all. David Fisher Trailers was in Intercourse, right along 772. It's no longer a welding shop. They make some swing sets and that kind of stuff in there, which their DNS machine was in there for a little bit, and then it was jumping around. But either way, David Fisher Trailers, they made the trailer. It was a 24-foot, very basic design of what they have today as far as the dump, the extendable tongue, with the tubing into each other. Very basic design.
Did you have rollers or skids?
It was skid, yeah.
Slide.
Yes,
Yep. Okay.
skids.
Roller trailers aren't that big a deal up here, are they? Or
Nobody
are they?
likes them.
Okay.
They
Have you noticed on the page how much there's no middle area? I'm the only guy I really know that doesn't care. I'll run either one of them. But I like on a skid trailer, you have so much other stuff you can do, the versatility of it. There's so much more you can do with it. Roller trailer, well, I got to get me some tuba tens or something if I want to haul escort vehicle or anyway. So continue.
the skid trailer. I wouldn't want the rollers
Yep.
at all for the home delivery. It's the trailer you can push it by
Yep.
letting the bed down and
Oh,
you can
yeah.
push the shed around a little bit.
Did you
more
grease
so.
up your rails like we do?
No.
You didn't. You just pushed and pulled
I
whatever
didn't-
you
I
wanted.
didn't want the grease.
Oh.
That was the biggest problem. I know one time in my old trailer, I used grease
Uh-huh.
to get it to slide. And I had to put the shed down and roll it under a carport.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I had that motor oil, used motor oil
and then it
on
got
the
a-
rollers,
oops.
and it got it on the concrete.
On the concrete.
The customer was not exactly impressed. However, he was like, well, I can clean it, but
Yeah.
it was not
Yep. I get that.
really what he
Yeah.
wanted to see. And on concrete, to use motor oil is hard to clean up.
So you're an old school guy. Have you ever heard of Dawn dish detergent? Using that?
Yeah.
So we had the same issue. I used to use whatever I could find to dump on there, and then people get more picky. You start setting them in places, in the grass, it didn't matter so much, but then you set them somewhere and you get a little oil on them. So we actually switched to Dawn, and we started using that, and that kind of eliminated that. Now they have this stuff called Slip Deck. You ever heard of that stuff?
Yes, I did.
So anyway,
I never used it.
Yeah.
So anyway, David Fisher Trailers built this trailer, and my invoice for that trailer was just a little over $3,000.
$3,000 in '86 or somewhere around there.
It was an 86.
Yeah.
24-foot extendable tongue and dump. No chain, no sideway wheels. Well, nobody had sideway wheels, and the
You can't-
slider in the back.
You can't even buy the hydraulic system for that anymore. Was it? I guess it was a 12-volt over
It was a
hydraulic.
12-volt. Yes.
I don't think. Maybe I could, but I'd spend about $3,000 on putting just the hydraulic system
Well,
together.
and we used the selector valve. That was much cheaper than what the Nazi valves are. So
That is true.
That
So,
cut
yeah, that
out
would-
a big
yep,
part
yep.
of it, some cost.
Yeah.
But either way, David Fisher Trailers was a very down to earth. He, I don't think there's very many guys around that worked as cheap as he did.
Mm-hmm.
It was pretty much the way it was. David Fisher built a decent trailer shop or trailer business, and that's when Dan Petersheim, which is now Pine Hill, bought David Fisher.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
Trailers.
I was going to ask you about that. I thought that's who it was.
I think that was in '99 or in 2000.
Yeah.
I'm not sure which year that was.
Yeah. Well, they had their 20th anniversary scheduled, for 2020
Well, yeah. Then
when
it
the
was in
bash got
2000.
canceled. So I'm guessing the majority of it probably started before that. But 2020, I think, is when that.
Yeah, that sounds
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. So.
So, yeah, time moved on, and Johnny Boom was producing more and more, and they had a guy from New Jersey pull in. He drove up from New Jersey, ordered a load of sheds, paid cash, went home, and he was like, man, I should have ordered 2 loads. He drove back up again
No
with cash
way.
and ordered another load of sheds
Oh, my.
and paid cash.
That's pretty cool.
And so now I didn't have my 48-foot trailer.
Mm-hmm.
And I worked on that. Oh, wait a minute. Maybe I had it in place already. I'm not sure. Either way, it was right over the time when the long trailer thing was just getting started, because at that time, they all had, 32-foot trailers,
Yep.
fifth wheel style, and the home deliveries was very much on the picture yet. There was nobody doing just
Just lot
dealer
runs.
or
Yeah.
inventory or whatever you want to call
Yeah.
it. Yeah. So I made my truck universal, my little GMC, to go between the 2 trailers.
Okay.
So that worked out very nice.
Yeah. So you could do either
Mm-hmm.
one then. So you had a 48-foot trailer behind your little GMC?
I did 48-foot with air brakes.
No way.
I put a little compressor in it,
Yeah.
and then it was the whole air system, the popper button, and the Johnny bar. All that was rigged up in the cab, and it worked out really nice. It plugged with a T into the hydraulic
Yeah.
to activate the air brakes. It was a smooth system, and it would kind of surprise people when you pull in and pull that button.
Yeah. They're like,
Wait a
what?
minute, what? You got air brakes? Yeah. I did that because I was already thinking I was going to be upgrading to a larger, bigger truck in the future.
So you saw that coming.
I did. Yeah.
Okay.
I think it was probably in, let me think of dates here, 88 or 89. I was over here at Ephrata. There was a GMC Volvo dealer, and they had a GMC General. I think it was a 78 GMC General. It had
I can picture
probably
that.
about a 48-inch sleeper
Yeah.
and a 400 Cummins.
Oh my
And they
word.
wanted $20-some thousand for the truck.
And you
I'm
thought
like,
this is
man,
just-
I can't afford that. But looking back, I probably should have bought the truck
Yeah.
because that truck would have made me more money
Oh yeah.
than what I did with my little pickup.
Yep.
I spent too much money in fixing it and gas. Gas was ridiculous. The gas mileage was not even how much gas mileage or how many mile per gallon.
No,
you get.
you just
It was
didn't. No, you don't do. I still don't to this day. Running diesel pickup trucks or semis. So when I was over the road, I paid attention to my mileage. But when I'm hauling sheds, I don't even look at it. I don't want to know. It's heartbreaking.
Well, you couldn't do anything.
No,
I mean,
you couldn't.
You couldn't.
Yeah,
You
you
were
know.
always maxed out, even with the 454.
Bessie out there, she has 37-inch mud tires on her, and coming up yesterday from home, coming up 81, and I mean, 81, you're running 0 or you're running 90. It's stop and go. People drive like crazy. It's just a mess. And I still averaged 18 miles per gallon
Oh, really?
with 37-inch now mud tires on it. And it's actually a hair over 18, but I'm like, I'm going to leave it at that.
So you're in a pretty high ratio gear.
Yeah, well, and the tires, I didn't downgrade. So most guys, if they put bigger tires on, they change their gear ratio. I don't, because I like being able to run one off of overdrive and be able to move pretty good. But when I haul sheds, I don't pay any attention because I've had it go down to 5 hauling sheds.
yeah.
So you
It
don't
doesn't
look
take
at
long.
that. That's not even. So there's something you did. I want to touch on this just for a sec because it's interesting. There's something you did that I completely did backwards. So you fixed up your pickup truck to be ready to have air brakes on your trailer because you saw that coming. My first semi, I turned it over to where it wouldn't work on air brakes. It worked on the regular trailer, because my trailer, I wanted to be able to pull it between the pickup and the semi. So we put the brake controller in and everything, and, we run on electric brakes through there. It's
And a lot of guys do
yeah,
that.
they do. But I know coming from trucking, you can't beat air brakes. So I
That's
get,
right.
yeah. So,
There's more, better brakes and longer lasting.
longer lasting. Yeah, big time.
And air brakes are easy to replace, to swap out the pads.
Yep.
Or the lining.
I did not know that you changed your pickup truck over. I can only imagine you pull up on a job and pull that out and they're like, what? So anyway.
So that trailer was a very nice trailer. And let me think a little bit. That trailer was probably an 88. And by the time 1990 rolls around, I was coming down to a close with Johnny Booms. And I did not see a long range with Johnny Boom anymore. Things was happening. We were not on the same page with the rates for the hauling.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I'm not bashing or bad mouthing them. It was what they wanted to do and the way they wanted to do business.
Yeah.
And it was we were okay with that. But where I went wrong in 1991, the same dealer that drove up, he happens to be a New Jersey state trooper.
Oh.
And he whipped out sheds to no end. And whenever he was home, his favorite shift for working was from 11 to 7 at night. 11 at night. He came home 7 in the morning. Then he had all day. And he would deliver sheds and sell sheds. And it was crazy. This guy, whenever this guy was home, he could sell 5 sheds in the next couple of hours.
Oh, my word.
It was just nuts. And we just went, I took load after load, load after load, 2 loads a day, many times. And sometimes 3 loads a day. It was just crazy. I could not stay after.
Yeah.
And yet he was always complaining about this and about that and about this and about that and the quality. I don't want to say that too much because Johnny Boom was a penny pincher. He used lower quality materials because he wanted to sell a lower price shed.
Yeah.
And
Which we still need. I
there's a
still
market
talk
for
about this.
there was a market for that.
Yeah, there was. Yeah.
But
But this
was
guy
still-
wanted high quality sheds
Well,
for
not
low market
really,
price.
but the
Not
customers
really.
did.
Yeah.
The customers then sometimes he would
yeah.
have to go back and fix things to please the customer
yeah.
in order to keep the customer
makes sense.
happy.
Yep.
That's when I saw a little window. Maybe if I can make a shed, I can make it a little bit nicer. That's where my thinking went.
What could be better than Woody built? I mean, like, you think about that for a minute. I've never thought about that until right now. A Woody built shed. One of you guys needs to start a new shed company and call it Woody Built.
So that's when I talked to the dealer him and I said, "Would you be interested in buying my sheds if I made them?" And he was like, "Absolutely." He goes, "I'll buy your shed."
Yep.
And so we kind of kept it secret between the two of us. We just quiet. And when I made my announcement that I was going to give him two more weeks to work, the question came, "What are you going to do?" And yeah, I just simply told him I was going to do what he did 6 years ago.
You going to leave and go
build
build your
sheds.
own? Yep.
Oh, who are you going to build for? And that conversation didn't end very nice.
No, I'm sure it didn't.
So I wish I could go back and redo that, but
That's part of your story.
it's
Like,
part of the story
yes.
today. And 1991, we released the building. The building was in my favor. It was an older guy that owned the building, which was like an old lumber yard. And it was an old building. It had, 100 posts in it. And he goes, he doesn't care. You can cut a post out as long as you put bridging in, something like that.
Yeah.
He was fine with that.
Yeah.
And he paved the center section of it to make a nice level area.
Oh, that's
So,
cool.
yeah, he
Yeah.
accommodated me in that way. The lease was not a 5-year lease or nothing like that. It was just a month,
Just month to month.
So he was fine. It was just an old building to him. He was happy to have somebody like me in there, and it had the overhangs on the outside for lumber storage and that kind of stuff. So it was good. And I had every potential in that building to build a thriving business. However, in 1991, nothing went right. Everything went backward. It didn't matter what I did.
Even with your big dealer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we made 2 and 3 loads a week.
Yeah.
And I would haul all those loads down. I had about 5, maybe sometimes 6 guys building. So I had guys, we had work. And because of the pickup or the home delivery, I had a guy do some local work, shed moves. And there was a small dealer, I think he was out of Hershey, where we would pick up sheds from another Amish dealer, Amish builder, and take them up to him and deliver them for him. It was a small guy. So, and Mervyn Miller was the guy that did that. And he was happy. He loved it. And that's where his introduction
That's
for the
where
head hauling, I can't even talk. The shed hauling came in.
Yeah.
So he loved it. And then he would fill in the shop wherever there was needed, whatever there was to do.
Thank y'all for listening to today's episode. This was part 1 of a 2-part episode, so be sure to listen next week to finish today's podcast.